this morning, I've already been mistaken for a presidential candidate. I was walking around and somebody thought I looked kind of official, and he asked if I worked here, and I said no, and he said, you look official, you should run for president of the United States. So I appreciated that. I also have my wife Karen here, who's filming this today. Karen doesn't get to attend conferences with me very often, so this is a real treat, and we've been able to have a lot of fun this weekend. And there are a lot of advantages to having your spouse of 26 years travel with you. On the train over here, she looked at my hair and she said, I think we forgot to trim your hair a little bit. And I said, there are a lot of amazing people with funny looking hair out there. I said, look at Einstein. And she looked at me and said, you ain't no Einstein. So she keeps me grounded. She keeps me in reality. She also did something that I've never had done in my life either. She grabbed some powder out of her purse and she powdered my forehead and my nose before I came up here. So I hope that doesn't distract anybody. One of the most wonderful things about this weekend is we have 7 kids, and we left all of them at home, and we are thrilled about that. One of the kids we found out yesterday got sick. We have 2 college-age kids, twins, a boy and a girl, who are almost 22, and then we have kids all the way down to age 4. And we found out that one of the 8-year-old got sick yesterday, and we just said, you college-age kids just take care of it. You just don't care. you guys just figure it out. 2 guys, Brian and Joe, started a company called Airbnb. Have you heard of Airbnb before? Are some of you using it this weekend? Probably so. It's pretty convenient. It's a way to use the internet to rent an overnight stay. Brian and Joe ran out of money. This was in 2008. They ran out of money pretty quickly, and they didn't know what to do. They both had a design background, and so they decided to do something creative. They made boxes of cereal. This was in the election year. They made boxes of cereal. One of them was called Obama O's, and the other one was called Captain McCain's. They sold them at the Democratic and Republican National Convention parties, and they made $30,000. This had nothing to do with their core business. But they did this, and it enabled them to have a little bit of money to go for a few more months. They ran out of that money a few months later, and they didn't have anything to eat, so they started eating their cereal. And after that kind of ran out, they decided we better actually raise some real money. So they went to an angel investor, a VC company in Silicon Valley, and they told him a story. Paul Graham was the gentleman that they met with. Paul said, no, I don't think I want to invest in you. I don't really get this. I don't think this is going to work out. I don't think this business model makes sense. And as they were about to leave, Brian pulled out his cereal box, and he told him his cereal box story. And Paul Graham said, I like you. I'm going to invest in you. So they invested in their little startup. And do you know how much that business is worth now, what the market cap is on Airbnb? $25 billion. That's how much that business is valued right now. And they had to get a little bit creative to get that going and make it actually work. There's an artist in Chicago, his name is Theaster Gates. You may have heard of him. He bought an old abandoned bank building for $1 from the government, and he wanted to turn it into an art gallery. Nobody would fund him. He decided to get creative. He took the marble partitions from the urinals in the bathroom, cut them up into blocks, and engraved some etchings in there that made it look like bank bonds on these marble blocks. He took 100 of them to Switzerland, to an art festival, and sold all of them for $5,000 each, made $500,000, and created his art gallery. He got creative. In 1999, I was a VP of sales for a technology company, and we had $20 million investment from Deutsche Bank. We were at a very large trade show in New York, and I had already spent my budget on my 7 or 8 member enterprise sales team. And we were at our booth at Internet World, this trade show, and a woman walked up to our booth, and she had a badge on, much like our badges today. And on her badge, it said, #1 salesperson. And she walked up to us, and she started talking to us. And I had no interest in another salesperson. We had already obtained our sales team. Long story short, 3 weeks later, We gave Karen Link an offer and gave her a $20,000 signing bonus. She got creative to find a job. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says that you cannot actually nail down the measurement of an individual particle. Either you're going to know its momentum or you're going to know its location, but you can't know both. Think about that for a second. You can't nail it down. You cannot measure with precision both the location and the momentum of an individual particle. That's the uncertainty principle. And it applies to us. We know that things are happening all the time that cause uncertainty and surprises in our lives. I coach baseball. I coach youth baseball. I love it. I have a whole half a day's worth of anecdotes from my baseball coaching because these kids say some funny things and they do some funny things. But just this past season, the second baseman, and these are 8-year-old kids, the second baseman was doing some kind of picking daisies a little bit. And, you know, these kids, sometimes they turn around the opposite direction from the batter and they actually take a glove off and put it on their head, or they sit down and they draw in the dirt. And I told the second baseman, I said, hey, watch out. The ball's coming. It's coming right to you. And he looked at me and he said, you don't know that. And then he said, you can't predict the future. And he was right, wasn't he? I can't predict the future. One time I told a kid, remember now, when you get to first base, you can practice. When you get into a game, the game is a totally different thing, isn't it? I reminded the kid, when you get to first base, you got to keep running. If the coach tells you, the first base coach tells you to keep running, you keep running. He got to first base and he kept running straight out to the outfield. Come on back. No, you got to take a left. It's uncertainty. It happens everywhere. We were talking to our little 6-year-old boy, and I think he was younger than that. I think he was like 2 or 3. Into bed a few years ago. And Karen said, he's a cute little guy. His name is Braden. This is the only kid we've done this with. We nicknamed him Scrumptious. Because he's just like a little scrumptious, teddy bear. You just want to just squeeze him. He's fat, little, cute little kid, And we were tucking him in, and Karen said, who do you love? And he said, Mommy. And I wanted to get my turn for some love. And I said, who else do you love? And he looked at me and he said, SpongeBob. This is uncertainty. I didn't expect this. We were we had a new neighbor move in. He was watering his lawn. We were on our way to church. Had the whole crew in our Suburban going to church. This is another kid, and I had plans to meet this person and maybe even invite him to a little neighborhood activity. Maybe invite him to church. I hadn't met him yet. And we were driving to church, and in the back window, my 6-year-old boy, this is a different kid. He rolled down the window. And as loud as he could, as we were passing by this guy, he said, see you later, sucker. These things happen all the time, don't they?